Hello, 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 and welcome to Rockin the Love. We are
Good
so
morning,
excited
everybody.
to be with you today. I am Robyn.
And I am Gil, and we are happy to be here today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever the heck you are. Uh, it's the third week in January,
Yes, it keeps
2024.
coming. It's the way it
Every
works.
week, it's another week. It's amazing.
Yeah. So we're welcoming you if you're joining us for the first time. Please like us and do all those social media things that people like you to do. Put a chat in the comments. Let us know you're here. And always good to see you. Welcome, John. And I see there's more people out there. Speak up, speak up. I feel like when you were a kid, that TV show where they're like, I see John, I see Betty, I see Frankie. But so let us know you're here and let us know what's on your mind. And if you're joining us for the very, very, very first time and you just stumbled upon us, we are a married couple living in different parts of the world. I am in San Diego, California, Carlsbad, California, and
And I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we are coming to you live. If you're hitting us on a live channel here, we do this each week. And our whole premise is that we talk about relationship. And relationship is, well, it's everything. There's not a place where we don't have a relationship with ourselves, with someone else, with something, even if it's our toaster. There's always some kind of relationship happening.
it's so true. Hello, Shay. Welcome. So today we're very excited to have two fabulous guests that are going to talk about relationships as well because they are going to celebrate their 25-year anniversary as a couple. It's like wisdom of the ages. And Gil and I are on our 22nd,
Second.
22nd
Yep.
year of marriage. That is just crazy. But so I'm so excited to hear what they have to share. And I even have questions from some of our viewers that we already have. And so I'm very excited. So let's get to the stuff so we can get to the good stuff and then get to the
Okay.
end. So how was your week?
Week was good. Good week. Exciting week. Lots happening. Had a a really great Sunday morning at the spiritual center this week. We had a person named Flamey Grant who does an incredible music. It's beautiful music, and is the claim to fame is that she is the first drag person to have hit #1 on the Christian music charts. So it's pretty incredible, and she has quite a story, and it was very uplifting and fun, and we had a great turnout. So anyway, that was huge, and I'm very excited. I'm actually going to be teaching a class starting this week. So lots going on.
What's
Lots
going
going
on?
on.
And John says, thanks, Rev Gil. That was so awesome on Sunday. It
It
was, it
was.
was, it was it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And I thought that it really touched a lot of hearts. And I think just your willingness as a spiritual center to stand behind what you believe and walk your talk is super important. So I think it was great and eye-opening and enlightening for many people.
Yeah, and this wasn't just another, even a new thought person. It's, very very grounded in Christian upbringing and participation and all of that, and brought that biblical perspective, and it was really cool.
Great. That's great. I did have a thought though that I'm going to tell you now so I don't forget it. I do think you should follow up with some drag queen bingo. I do. I think your community would love it and have a great time and it'd be a great fundraiser. I'm just saying. I'm
All
just
right, all right. I have to put that out there.
um My week was good. I'm still totally challenged by the fact that this year has started again. It's like I can't quite get into the rhythm. And I don't, maybe it's not the year, maybe it's the fact that we moved and did all that. So it's like all of a sudden I'm in a new place trying to get into the rhythm of what I've been doing for, the last 10 years or whatever. And I obviously I can't because I'm not in the same place and it's not the same. It's not the same. So I'm still trying to get into rhythm. However, I feel like it's getting closer and I'm working on it. So that's my week. So I see more people have joined us and that are Wayne is here and also Mirna is here. Bienvenidos. Welcome Mirna and everyone out there. And so let's just get to the good news so we can get to our fabulous guests.
All right. All right. Well,
so our good news segment is a segment where we talk about what's going on in the world that is good because it's so easy to find what is not out there. And I'm actually going to start us off with a quote that I have from Maria Shriver, who says, "There are more people doing good stuff and moving us forward than there are people sowing division. I surround myself with people who have faith." And that's what this segment is about. It's about people who have faith, people who have commitment, people who are standing in the love and rocking the love out there. So what do you got?
Well, and I would just add people that aren't paying too much attention to the Iowa caucuses. So I have a story which I think is kind of cool because if people have followed it all, we do a lot of environmental things, and some years ago there was a major push to reintroduce the wolves in and around. I can think of a Yellowstone area, and they found that it made an incredible difference in the whole environmental landscape, not just in what they expected. It improved the watersheds and all of that. Well, there's a story that there's several farmers in England have been taking on realigning their creeks and stuff that run across their property because for over the last 1,000 years, these have all been straightened out and made very deep so that the water flows quickly and gets out, but it actually contributes to flooding and various other things. And so this one particular farmer has gone in, realigned his creek, added some stuff, figured out where the land was low, allowed the low areas to fill with water. Now he has water in areas that stands even when it's dry because of the way he has his creek running. He also planted a lot of plants, and now he actually has this more natural area where some of his cattle roam part of the time, but it also has he's got a bunch of birds and a bunch of other animals that have shown up that he wasn't seeing before at all. And this is kind of a trend around the northern England area. And I thought it was really fascinating. Really fascinating.
That's very cool. Very cool. Well, my story, I'm going to take a little backwards route because I decided, it's a lot of times on the show when we're talking about relationship, we talk about things, that we don't necessarily want or we don't understand. And we end up going back to the principle of trusting that everything is perfect and everything is on time and to stand in that knowingness. So my story is about a man in India who had a untimely death from a chest infection. And he was 80, but he was healthy and he'd been healthy, but he had a chest infection. And his family and relatives had planned his gathering and a banquet and a cremation. And the ambulance was carrying him to to
The event, right?
yeah, and if anyone's been to India or heard about India, you've heard about the potholes and all of that in the street and how horrible the streets are. And the ambulance hit a pothole, and the man came back to life. Right? So his grandson was in the back of the ambulance with him, holding his hand, and his hand began to move, and he came back to life. So obviously, the grandson directed him to the nearest hospital, and but I just thought, we just don't know, right? We just don't know. So I just thought that was a good story, that even when you think you know, you don't know,
Yeah. Yep. There's hope for Oakland's roads, I guess.
There's either hope or there's a reason. Trust, there's a reason. Anyway, that is the good news. And we are so excited to come back with Randhy and O'Neill, who will share with us some relationship tips, stories, and things that might enhance your relationships as well. So you know what to do. Don't go away. Go get whatever you need and join us right back here on New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And we are back. This is Rockin the Love. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we are very excited today to be sharing with you Stay Calm and Relationship On. That's our title today. We have two wonderful guests, Randhy and O'Neill. And I'd like to take a minute to introduce them. Is that a good idea? I think it is. So, hello, guys. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Hi, Robyn and Gil.
Hi, Robyn and Gil. Good to
I
see
just
you.
want to let our listeners know that from my perspective, you two are some of the most spiritual, intuitive people I know, and that you both have your own thriving practices in supporting others in fulfilling their wholeness. You've been together almost 25 years, in just a minute, and in addition to that, you're very generous and willing to share your time, and you show up with the intentional family that we're all a part of around your godnephews. So
True.
That's the introduction from my perspective. There's a lot more to these two folks, and we're just really happy to have you, and welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned that we are in an intentional family together, which has been such a blessing in our lives, Randhy and me, for the last, it's gone like 12 years now.
12 years, yeah.
With your
Isn't that crazy?
godsons, our god nephews, and how we just all came together with our beautiful god sister when she said, "Hey, let's put together a family to raise these precious boys." And it's been amazing to watch, particularly you two, as you have lived right there in Oakland with them, and those years spent together, really an inspiration for us in loving, committed relationship. Just sticking in there, staying calm and sticking in there.
That's half your marriage, 12 years.
That's
It
true.
is.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It's crazy. Yeah,
Well,
time is crazy.
And it occurs to me that we met Randhy way back with Thrive or what was Rejuvenate.
That's true. Wow.
That's
That's
awesome.
way
No,
far.
no.
Our paths have crossed in multiple ways
Yeah. Yeah.
over time.
It's kind of like the bump in the road in India, right? We just don't know. We don't know where all of it's leading, but here we are. What we do know is that 25 years is a super long time, or so it appears to me. Right?
It's both a blink of an eye and, a lot to think back on with a lot of gratitude and amazement.
Yeah.
For sure.
So why don't you guys give us just a little hint of how you became a couple, how you stepped into that adventure together?
Well, I ended up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, at the Edgar Cayce Center. If you know the Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet of Virginia Beach, as they called him. But
Okay.
I went there. I moved there for massage school after bachelor's degree, and O'Neill was there for graduate school in transpersonal psychology. And the Edgar Cayce Center sort of was an affiliated membership organization that both of our schools were connected to. And so we met there. And it just was the first conversation we had was about spirituality. It was about values. It was about who we are in relationship to soul, spirit, purpose of life. So that's been sort of a connected point through our whole relationship. So you want to add to that, O'Neill? Anything to throw in?
The Edgar Cayce Center is also known as the Association for Research and Enlightenment, the ARE, in Virginia Beach. And I had grown up with those metaphysical Christian Eastern principles woven into my family life. And so it was a very natural place for me to go on my spiritual quest and to figure out what was next for me, and going to graduate school at Atlantic University was part of that. And I think, Randhy, you had come out of undergraduate and in social work, and had in that field for a while, and just found it really draining. And so both of us were seeking something. And that was one of the important principles to me. I was just coming out at that time, just coming into my realization and identity of being a gay man, and coming out to the world in that way. And I really wanted to meet, and find a boyfriend, to find somebody to explore this new realization about myself, but to do it in relationship. And I remember talking to a spiritual mentor of mine, who's in his 70s at the time, and I said, I guess I need to go to a bar or a nightclub, like that's where I would meet somebody. And he said, I said, but I don't want to. Like the hanging out around the ARE is where I want to be. Workshops and conferences and things that inspire me and enlighten me. And he said, well, don't go there. That you're not going to meet the person that shares those kind of values with you there necessarily, or it'd be a needle in a haystack. No judgment about those kinds of places, but go where you want to go. Go do the things that you're most drawn to do. Be true to yourself and the person that will meet you there, because they'll be doing the same thing, being true to themselves. And that's that's where we met. And I've continued to offer that to people that are wondering how to meet their soulmate, how to meet a person to fall into love and relationship with. It's like, go where you would want to be found. Go where where it aligns up with your values.
That is really good advice and insight.
And it answers a question that one of our listeners has already asked. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, because it is so important to be in alignment with yourself.
Yeah.
To find your partner.
Yeah. Yeah. It's most important to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just reflecting on that myself in the moment.
So what happened was, it was my student job was to be at the visitor center desk in the evenings, and the few visitors would come through at those hours. So I'd mostly do homework, but then I see this handsome man. I soon found out his name was Randhy, come walking in the door, and I got very helpful very quickly. Hello, can I help you?
He was very helpful.
Bordering on too helpful, right?
Yeah. No, he was charming and very helpful, and directed me. I was running a little late, and he just directed me right to where I needed to go. And on intermission, he was like engaging and asked me a bunch of great questions, and so we had a really good first connection.
So
that's great.
So it was about 4 years that we were there from that point. And during that time, we just deepened our relationship. And then I got a job offer to move out to Oakland, all the way across the country. And so Randhy and I decided that's an adventure we wanted to take together. And we needed to put a ring on it if we were going to do that. So we had our marriage ceremony there in the meditation garden at the Edgar Cayce Center, the ARE. I think it's also one of the things that we really want to share is a little bit about the vows that we created, because we revisit those ourselves. But just to say that, as I was a graduate student, Randhy was working in a backpacking store at the time. We didn't really have any money, and the community of friends turned out, and it was our celebration and reception after was kind of inspired by the Stone Soup story, if you know that one, where just everybody showed up. It wasn't quite a potluck, but we did have people in the community, like a woman that I worked with said, my husband's trying to start his own catering business. Could he cater? Could he just, bring food for everybody for your your event. I said, yeah, absolutely. And then this friend loved going to the flower market and buying flowers and doing arrangements. He goes, can I do a big arrangement for you? I was like, yes, absolutely. So it was, we got to create it again, the way that what was true for us, rather than follow any set, like, oh, it has to be some version of a fairy tale, marriage, wedding ceremony that fits into, dare I say, like today, social media. It's going to impress everybody. But it was no, what's the most true expression of us that we can come up with? And we got to, because we were outside the normal tradition, we got to create it for ourselves.
Well, I think it goes back to what you were saying too. You were being in alignment with what was true for you, and allowing that to magnify itself. You know what I mean? You weren't tied into it's got to be this way, or if it doesn't look like this, it won't last, or whatever. You just, and the people responded. That they were your anchors.
Well, one of the things that Robyn and I have done is work with couples getting married, and one of the things we've landed on is that the way you do your wedding is how you do your marriage.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
And to walk into that, being true to yourself, being open to what can happen, allowing others to contribute to it. All of that, I think, says a lot about who you are together now.
Yeah. And the values, the vows that we wrote together, it was not the death do you part. It was really spoke to our deep values as spiritual beings, who we are and what are to be as a couple. And I think one of those values was about the relationship needed to be supporting both of us to be the best person, the best human being that we could possibly be. And it wasn't about staying together. It was about really supporting our spiritual practice and being the best human being that we could possibly be. And if any time the relationship stopped doing that, then we needed to look at, was it still a viable relationship? And we're really committed to that through every single time that we hit a bump in the road, we looked at, like, is this still working? And we always came back to, it's actually supporting us to be who we really wanted to be, and it's time to keep going.
So you two have made, from that comment and from my own observation, have made a real intentional move to support each other in your personal and professional development over the years.
True. Yeah.
And really held each other up in that. Is there anything you want to say about that, or what that's been like?
Anything top of the mind there for you, Anil, on that one?
Yeah.
I'm letting that sit. So I'm like, yeah.
Right. Well, I want to bring in the word devotion here, as just like this enthusiastic support for each other. And then there's another word that's become important for us, and that's compersion. That's this term of deriving joy and pleasure in what is joyful and gives pleasure to your partner. Like that it's really an uplifting of them and their joy and their passion. And professionally, that's been important for both of us. So Randhy's a body worker, a healer, and I could see early on just how much passion he has for helping people on the physical level and working with the body. He loves puzzles. He loves figuring things out. And being a massage therapist, can be slow getting going, getting a practice going. It did mean working on weekends. It meant working in a hotel spa for a while. It meant, being physically tired. having to make an appointment, like if I want to get a massage, it kind of changes things. But I saw that he's just so grounded and connected with life when he gets to work on folks. So I've been, in support of that through the years. And then he witnessed me. I love business. I love organizations. I love structure. And I wanted to be doing good in the world. So I found my way into nonprofit administration and management in the first part of my career. And that doesn't pay well, or it's so well, or it takes a little while to get up to the ranks, but it's so personally fulfilling, and Randhy, you stood by me in supporting me in staying in the nonprofit sector, even though, again, in our early days, that meant kind of struggling financially in ways that we felt like we couldn't afford to do some of the things that we might have also really wanted to do, like travel internationally or whatnot. So that was one of the ways we really supported each other.
Yeah, and also when you decided to launch into your own coaching business, we certainly took a hit financially on that, but it's just like I saw your passion for it and you're wanting to help people and creating a better world through engaging in business from a spiritual standpoint. And I saw how it lit you up and supporting each person. And so we just really, it's always been a sense of pulling and pushing each other,
We've talked about it as also leapfrogging, like that. When he's doing really well and he's pursuing his dreams, when he's getting really, motivated and moving forward, and maybe I recognize like, oh man, I've been just sitting on my little froggy bottom here for a while. I gotta get going too. And so, jumping forward, and then we just kind of do that for each other. And, today our professional lives look so different than where they were 25 years ago. And the abundance and the prosperity that's come with that is a huge blessing. And I think it just feels like it's, again, we've been true to ourselves along the path. And, yeah.
So I hear you, and you all are very calm and zen. And like listening, I'm like, oh yeah, it all makes sense. And I'm wondering, I'm imagining that it hasn't always been this way in that, like I heard you say you go back to your vows, and what are some maybe things that you could share to give people the steps or what do you do when you don't agree or in the heat of those moments? I mean, because I don't have to tell you.
The potholes in the road,
Yeah.
I don't know what she's talking about. So
we all know that we know what we know, and it's not always easy to put it into play.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, I would say that one, learning to be deeply sincere and honest with oneself. To be able to look at, am I making this up? Am I projecting? If something happens and I get triggered, look at my own trigger. Yeah. Be really responsible for my own side of the street, as they say. But also from the standpoint of this devotion and compersion and really wanting the best for the other and trusting that that's so in both directions.
Right.
So if O'Neill says something or does something that really hurts, I know that he's not trying to hurt me. And I can actually turn it around and be concerned for what's going on over there. And like, wow, that really hurt. What's going on? And then we can stand in that. I can still be curious and caring while I'm being hurt. I can care for him because we both know that we want the best for each other.
Yeah.
And you not only know
Yeah,
it,
I
but
think
you
that's
trust it and believe it.
absolutely.
Right.
And if we can call each other on it, like, what, I know you care for me, so what's up? That
Right.
was not a caring thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or at least I made it. What's coming up for me doesn't feel like that was a caring thing,
Right.
you know. And we can, support each other and hold each other to that mirror. And again, it's a spiritual practice,
Yeah,
coming
it's
back to our values.
all of it's a spiritual practice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking here first, feeling here first, and taking ownership of where I'm coming from, and how that may be, being projected onto him. That's not conscious, and to be conscious of it first. Some tools that have been really helpful for us: a couple of different couples therapeutic styles. One comes from the Gottman Institute. It's a husband and wife psychotherapist team, and what they realized in observing successful couples is that the couples that succeed longest have a higher percentage of the time that they turn towards each other, and that can be both um, energetically and actually physically. That they literally will turn towards each other. So if they come walking into a room, there's this kind of oh, there you are. And if they get into arguments or disagreements, there's rather than turning away and kind of becoming polarized, even energetically or in a conversation, it looks like they're talking to each other, but in fact, they're actually turned away from each other, that there's this intentional turning towards. And so just that has been really helpful. Like, am I turning towards my partner energetically and in this moment? Maybe I'm not even, and my office is at the back of the house, right? So Randhy has a bit of a commute coming home. He can, transitions between work and home in a different way. But 15 seconds I'm in the house and I've still got my day, and I'm not turned towards him at all, and I have to literally energetically turn myself towards him. So that's been really helpful from the Gottman Institute.
Wow.
I love that. Yeah. And
I
Myrna
would
said,
also go ahead.
I was just going to say, Myrna said she loved the question and what's going on over there, and knowing and remembering it's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I go back to Miguel Ruiz and 4 Agreements and don't take anything personal a lot.
Right.
A lot.
Why do you have to do that? Oh, that's right. She's telling me. That's what it was.
Well, if I'm going to turn towards you, I have to not take it personally.
I know.
For real. So, Randhy, you were going to say something?
Well, I would also say another place that we really got a lot of benefit is through a friend of ours, Joe Weston, who out of DC does respectful confrontation. And he really brought the distinction between conflict and confrontation. Where conflict, it's like wanting to be right, getting even, really making it personal and trying to get something out of it that's more ego-based. Versus confrontation is like seeking healing and greater intimacy for both, and really trusting that that's happening again by the person on the same, for the same way with the other person. And so if we come to a rupture and we turn towards each other and we want to develop and create more intimacy with each other. So then we can come from a place of open-hearted, non-defended, and really share vulnerability, what's actually happening and what's going on. And Joe Weston, which I really, really love, is that he says that our true power really comes from our vulnerability. And so if we can be really authentic and really be vulnerable and speak from a place that's true and share from that place, then anything's possible within communication.
So true.
Yeah.
So John has asked before the show, what do you feel you've had to work on over the years together as a couple or individual? I guess it all starts individual.
Well,
Yeah.
I would, one of the things that found really helpful when we felt like we were missing each other, that I remember saying, like, well, really frustrated, why don't you ever love me? And he's like, what are you talking about? I love you all the time. And we realized that then we realized this whole idea of love language, that his love language is very different than mine. And if there's 5 love languages, and his is words of affirmation and acts of service, and mine is presence and touch. And so he was doing all these great things for me, cleaning the kitchen and cleaning the house and doing all these things, and I wanted to be touched, and he was missing that, and I was missing his. And once we got to realize, like, oh my God, he's doing all these things for me in the terms of love, and I'm touching him, but I'm not doing like acts of service. And he was, so we got to really be present and respond from a place of how does he receive love?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would be in there, washing up the dishes after dinner, and he's over sitting on the sofa. Right. and the story in my head is he's not, he's not helping me with the dishes. I'm having to do it all by myself, but I am doing it because this is my way of showing love. And he's over, but he's not getting that. And he's over on the sofa saying, I wish he'd come cuddle with me. And why is he paying more attention to the dishes than he is to me? And when we stay inside of our story, there's no language communication, going on. So that's one of the areas that we've really had to work on, is understanding our love languages. And it's a great segue to say, a tool that's been very helpful for us is understanding there's also erotic languages. And there's a really great assessment, kind of like there is, you can Google the love language, assessment test online. There's also one for what they call erotic blueprints. We actually wrote the website down for that, didn't we, Randhy?
Yeah, I think so.
Theblueprintbreakthrough.com. But that, there's also in our erotic lives, there's other ways of connecting energetically or sensually or creative exploration, these different things. And when we did that test, we realized, we have a different combination with that as well. And so that's an area that we've had to work on, is our erotic language.
I love that. Myrna says, are you sure you're not describing my marriage and many others? Yeah, Myrna, why do you think Gil is laughing up there? It's nervous laughter up there in the corner.
That's true.
Yeah, it's so true, though. It's such, what I hear coming from you both is such an awareness, just an awareness to be aware. It's not even, like really just stopping and pausing and taking that breath to, realize it's not about you and what's happening here. What's this about? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sensing that you guys are consistently supporting one another in becoming aware of yourselves and each other. And I just had a discussion last night on the phone with someone about something going on, and it went back to her childhood, and what I said to her was, and now you're you're aware of what's going on and you're seeing it. And so now you're on the road to figuring out how to work with it, you know, whereas then you didn't understand it and it made no sense and you couldn't do anything with it, you know? And so that's a powerful place to be, and to intentionally do that, I think, is really powerful.
Yeah. And O'Neill said something earlier, which I started to write down and didn't, but it was, it's something about being, you know, I always say stuck in your story. It was something about in your story. And I think, you know, I think part of the journey that I'm hearing you say is the awareness of your story. Because if I'm over on the couch pouting that Gil's not sitting with me, I'm in my story. I'm in my past, my whatever it means, you know, all those things, and I'm creating a whole nother thing rather than.
I'm with O'Neill under the sink trying to fix the garbage.
Yeah, there's some relations here, but yeah, you know, so also just being aware, like stopping and being aware, which takes me to the work of Byron Katie, you know, and going, is that the truth? You know, Gil's over there doing the dishes. Is it the truth that he doesn't love me, that he loves the dishes more than you know? No, it's not the truth, you know, and moving on from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Shay says, I could use a spiritually oriented dating app. I live in a super small town, and most of the people that I'm attracted to are in spiritual communities.
Yeah. Get it.
I think that's a common desire. I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah. So one of the other questions that was asked was, what do you two share spiritual practices together? Is there like a spiritual regime that you go through or do in your relationship?
Yeah. Well, you know, we certainly, 2 years ago, we went on vacation for one of our anniversaries, and it was a 10-day silent meditation retreat.
for our anniversary.
For our anniversary.
You two have never had more fun together, have you?
I know, that's
right.
That's somebody said, like, you know how to party, don't you? Yeah.
They even put us in opposite ends of the retreat center, so we couldn't talk to each other. But and then we traveled together. But that really is one of the things that we, you know, to drop in and do meditation retreats together, talk about spirituality, talk about consciousness, and how that relates to what's going on in each other's lives.
Yeah, plant medicine has been very helpful for both of us. We do plant medicine ceremonies together. We facilitate that with and for other people as well. So that's and workshops where we learn things and bring it back to the couple. Sunday mornings for us, we love listening to a recording of some of our favorite spiritual teachers. Adyashanti is one, Mooji is another, Michael Beckwith. I love him, especially with the sermons and the energy of the service. So we'll tune into something like that, make Sunday morning our kind of devotional time together in that way. And then just meditation, just sitting on the sofa in the morning and meditating. And then driving to workout, we have a workout schedule, and it takes us about 20 minutes to get there, and we go before dawn, and it's a chore to get there. I'm not going to say it's easy, but the car rides, we just often will drop into a conversation there, and it's an intentional one, like something juicy, like again know towards and sharing in vulnerability with your partner what's going on.
And the other thing I'm hearing and know and see about you too is that, I mean, you're very busy people, and yet you really create space for each other. You know, like I'll be honest, Gil and I are very busy people, and we don't always create that space for each other because we're like, we think it's romantic to get together and sit at the table and do work. But I mean, just creating that space where you really turn it off and go to yourselves, and focus on your relationship. I think that's.
I think that's something. Thank you. That's a helpful reflection, and I think that's an area we could do better with, because I do tend to like to stay busy with things, and there's just so many distractions that are available, right, with our computers and our 24/7 kind of work, especially when you work for yourself. But it's good to do.
Good stuff. Hey, I did notice that Myrna put up here that she's gonna want to invite you to come speak at her center in Mexico.
Oh.
So
Mexico, awesome.
Mexico.
It's virtual, but it's located in Mexico.
I'm curious. I'm not remembering how much time we have.
We are almost done.
Okay.
We are at the end. So that said, Myrna wants to invite you to be a guest speaker at her center. John would love, John, who you've met actually at our house before.
Yeah. Hey, John. Yeah, absolutely.
He'd love to come up and hang out with you all. He's on a relationship self-quest, I want to say, working on his relationship with himself and really opening up to, bringing in all the things that we're talking about. So you all are very popular and in demand.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, if you want to have us come back on the show sometime, we could do it and we could share more. A big chapter in our time together has been moving into polyamory and embracing ethical non-monogamy as a way to continue to grow personally and spiritually, and how to love each other in the midst of that. So it's a whole nother topic. That's why I was asking about time.
Yeah.
Put a plug in there for that. There's a lot of ways to be in intentional family and intentional loving relationships, and polyamory, many loves, is one of those as well.
Absolutely.
Sounds very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it before, and we'd love to have you back on the show. And you're always welcome. But I have one final question that I think is the most important one of the day. Knowing how you travel, where are y'all going for your 25th anniversary?
Oh, that's a good story. Oh well, we are going to Mexico next. We're going to Mexico in January, February. And what's cool is the first week, we're each going to be doing our own kind of workshop retreat experience. And then we're coming together for the second week to share at a yoga retreat. We're going to do that together. And so it's going to be an experience of traveling intentionally separately and then coming back together, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then in June is when our anniversary is, and we're still working that through.
I could tell by Randy's face there was some trip going on. All right. Well, we are so grateful for you guys having been here. This was super fun.
It was great.
Thank you. Love you guys. Thanks for having us in your little living room here.
Thank you for just really showing up. I appreciate it. It's really great to be able to spend this kind of time with you, and I appreciate it. And I'm glad we could share it with the rest of the folks as well. And just trusting that you guys continue to grow and be the wonderful people you are.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Gil.
Is there, if people want to get in touch with you, is there somewhere that you would like them to connect with you?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking. My website, strategymeetssoul.com, Strategy Meets Soul, is a website offering my work and how to get in touch with me. And Randhy you want to talk about yours?
Yeah. So I'm a body worker. Mostly I'm, in person here. But also I'm doing some breath work which will be online and other things. So my website is Santa Rosa Advanced Manual Therapy.com.
Santa Rosa Advanced Manual Therapy. And I'm thinking, O'Neill, that was a typo that just came up there.
Yeah, it was strategy, as in
you think I had typed that in actually from seeing it, but no, it wasn't.
As in strategic. Strategy meets soul. And it's really about connecting, knowing that soulful place in us, and then what are strategies for living to be a full expression of that. So the meeting place of the doing and the being, the strategy and the soul place. And then
manual is spelled MANUAL.
UAL.
UAL.
Man, we are on it today.
Well, we didn't provide those to you in advance, so our
sorry about that.
I would put a plug in for Randhy is deepening his practice in offering breath work and centering, healing, clearing through intentional guided breathing practices. So something folks can get in touch with him for too.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. All
and
right,
if you got caught in the typos, then just contact us. We'll get it to you.
All right. So thanks so much for joining us
with
on
you.
Rockin the Love. Thank you to our guests, Randhy and O'Neill. We are so grateful, and we are looking forward to seeing everybody again next week and seeing what's happening then.
So you know what to do, everybody. In the meantime, just keep rocking the love out there. The world needs it.
Absolutely.
See you next week.
Take care.